Hi. Hello. This is Dramas Over Flowers live, and I'm Saya.
And I'm Anissa. Hi. We're both at the tail ends of our days. So. Oh my goodness. This halo is like really.
That's your starburst. Sunburst? Yeah.
It's the lens. It's like the lens flare,
Lens flare,
and
yeah.
like the J.J. Abrams
That's
lens
your
flare.
epic moment. The heroine has arrived.
So we thought we would do something that we would return to something that we used to do on the podcast, which we called "What's Up on Dramaland," or "What's Up in Dramaland," sorry, which is something that we would like kind of talk about upcoming dramas, talk about like recent industry news, and then it just became so much, and we couldn't keep up with it, and there were so many dramas coming out, and we were just like, okay, this is not sustainable.
It was overwhelming, yeah.
It was overwhelming. So we don't do that anymore on the podcast, but we do occasionally have things that we want to talk about that we want to like talk about with y'all instead of just keeping it in the group chat. So Saya has collected some stories for us. Thank you, Saya.
I was just making use of my random drama scrolling.
Nice.
There's some interesting stories though. So, like, I didn't know, and I was actually really surprised to find this out. That Jisoo, as in, what do you call it? Was it Angry Mom? And I can't remember the other dramas, but that Jisoo had actually come back to acting. Like, I had no idea. I was very surprised by this. But not in Korea. He's acting in the Philippines, and he's doing pretty well. And he's popular, and I don't know how that works. Like, what language is he acting in? Do they just dub him? And how do we feel about this?
I don't watch Filipino TV, so I don't know like how they usually deal with like foreign actors or if that's a thing. Because I know in Chinese dramas, when that happens, they'll just dub over that
Dub
person
them, yeah.
with Mandarin. Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to work. But what do you think about this? Like, because I know how many years has it been since he had his scandal?
Was the scandal.
Just
See,
3 years.
this was one that I don't know. I think I had a bit, like, I was a bit more doubtful about when it all came out. Based on nothing but my own sort of judgment, like without evidence, because I obviously do not have inside information or anything. But like, remember at the time that there were like double allegations. One was of school bullying, and he admitted that he actually like did not at any point try to conceal that. And the second one was sexual assault. And that one he said that that didn't happen. And I might be misremembering, but I feel like at the time that was quite clearly debunked. Like that was just like a extra spicy sauce that they just added on. But I don't remember right now. But I just remember thinking that because of the way that he handled the situation, he didn't at any point try to sort of get out of it or say that it didn't happen. He was actually really, I mean, I feel hesitant to say offer this kind of vibes based interpretation, but he seemed to be pretty frank about having a lot of regret over the person he had been at that time, and that since then that he's reflected on himself and tried to change. And so at the same time, like, cynical me is like, yeah, he's an actor, he can say anything. So I felt also, like it was to believe it.
But you're right. Like the vibes based is really the only way that we can do it, right? I mean, like we don't have any other like evidence to base it on. It's at this point, it's like hearsay, gossip, some journalism. But we had a guest on the podcast around that time to talk about this, but also just like bullying scandals in general. Professor Cedar Balseji, and that was like a really interesting deep dive into like why people feel so upset about school bullying in particular and why it's such a hot button issue. And I think like it is very serious and it's really bad, but then I also think about like how long do we also punish someone for something that they did when they were a kid.
Mm.
Also, like with this kind of scandal, there's that additional layer, right? There's also this other we have another actor who's coming back. Let me find the article, who did something as an adult, which wait. Sorry, I'm like bad at sharing screens. Here, so we had the story with Kim Se-ron a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, where she had a DUI. She didn't just have a DUI, but she had an accident while she was driving under the influence. Her accident caused her like drunk driving caused her to crash into
like a pylon and
a guardrail,
yeah.
trees, and a transformer. There was a power outage in the area. Like, it was pretty bad. And she took a break from acting for a long time. And I feel like something like this is a lot more serious because she's doing it as an adult. Could have killed someone or more than one person. I mean, it's like drunk driving it's not a joke. And not to say that school bullying is a joke either. I mean, neither of these things are to be taken lightly. But I do think there's a difference between like something that you did in school.
Yeah. Like you have to give a certain amount of grace to something done in childhood or like at a particular age. And, you know, people grow up, they mature, they have to have the opportunity to move forward from doing those things. But they also have to make amends. And the thing, another new part of the story was like in the Jisoo story was that in his sort of press conference, or maybe I can't remember exactly where he said it, but it was something that he said that he had spoken to the person that he had bullied and that they had had a long conversation and that person had forgiven him. And like we've only got his word on this, so like we don't know really what happened, but like let's take it at face value. Like that attempt to make amends, that did happen. So and after that,
I mean, I guess you could also kind of say the same thing for Kim Se-ron. Like
she's paid her fine, she's done her time.
But like, also, do these people have the right to come back to the public eye afterwards? I guess which was kind of the issue even with the school bullying allegations, right? With Jisoo, because this person was like, why do I have to watch this person on the television screen? Like, why does this person get to have a public life when seeing their face is triggering for me because of the harm that they caused? And like, I don't have a good answer for that, really.
But then the other thing I thought about was, I mean, as an actor who has trained to act, at a point it's just your job, and the public part sort of is an additional thing. And if that's the only job you know how to do, like, and that's what you've
and with Kim Se-ron, that's literally what she's done since she was a child. Like, what else is she going to do at this point?
So
that's
I
what
also
she's been training for her whole life.
Don't know what the right answer to that is.
Yeah, and I mean,
as a perspective,
and as a child star, you know, child stars are like notoriously not often growing up in, I mean, they're not often growing up in very healthy environments, and it's not like a developmentally sound way to mature, knowing that the entire nation and potentially the whole world has like watched you grow up and is commenting on your appearance and your acting skills and your performance. I mean, I cannot imagine. That sounds so hard.
Yeah. And I mean, kind of, I don't know if this is exactly in her defense, but like, she's not trying to come back in a huge way. She's just working again. I feel like this is a very tentative return to work. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, she's not trying to go out there and grab the best and biggest roles. And the thing is, like, at the time that she had her DUI, she was rising, like, steadily. She's been a steady riser. She wasn't like, she didn't suddenly shoot to stardom in, you know, as an adult. She didn't shoot to stardom in a particular role or anything like that. She was sort of steadily taking on slightly bigger and more complex roles with each project. So, like, even then, like, as an actor, she was pretty modest. And I feel like her return is also pretty modest as well. Like, it's a low budget music video. So I don't know, people do need to work. But there is that troubling aspect of like, well, this is a public job that comes with a certain amount of what do you call it, prestige.
Yeah. And there are
And do they
actors who
deserve
come
that?
back and just start getting, like, lead roles again. Like,
Mm.
so for example, and I mean, these I don't know, I feel like we always kind of
Or
feel differently
Park
about
Ji-hoon.
people who have committed, yeah, sexual
Yeah,
assault and, like, those kind of crimes. But, like, right now, Shin Hye-sun is
I was about
co-starring
to
in a
say,
drama
yeah,
with, Lee, and, like, he has basically admitted to.
allow that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he, like, wiggled out of any kind of legal
Mhm.
responsibility, but if you look at the facts of the case, he did it. It's just that
Mm.
the Korean legal system did not hold him accountable,
Yeah.
and yet here he is back as a romantic male lead in a big budget drama across
Mhm.
from Shin
And
Hye-sun, who's one
nobody's
of, like,
talking about
one
it.
of our most amazing actresses, and, like, I wanna see her, but I refuse to watch this drama with him
Same,
across from her,
same.
and so, like,
Like,
you
we
have
haven't even
these
talked
kinds of
about that
people.
drama. That drama doesn't exist to us, right?
No.
We just, like, all of 3 of us just kind of, like, mutually, silently agreed, "This is not a drama we're gonna talk about," and we didn't until
Yeah.
now. This is the first
Yeah.
time we've
Well, I
actually
didn't
mentioned
actually
it.
mention its name, but but, you know,
Yeah.
like, when you have those kinds of comebacks happening with I don't know, I mean, I'm not on the Korean internet, so, like, maybe there has been backlash to him
Well, the
coming
thing
back.
is,
I certainly
Lee
haven't seen
was
it.
never disgraced, like, he never lost his, you know?
Yeah.
He always kept his, status, um, and it wasn't like Park Ji-hoo who did because his
Right.
got really messy and, like, ugly and ugh, yeah, do you know whenever I say his name, I see that CCTV? Yeah, like, I don't know if everyone's seen it, it's the one of him carrying an unconscious woman, like, on his back into his house,
Yep.
and then, you know, then he argues that it was consensual and she was unconscious, so it wasn't, you know? Ah, yeah, I just see that, and whenever I hear his name, I see that. Whenever I say his
Yeah,
name, I
and,
see
like, I
that.
mean, you mentioned, like, he has also had a comeback, but he did have to, like, take some years of
Yeah.
shame, and he actually
Mhm.
came back with a weekend drama, which is, I mean, I don't know if these divisions matter as much anymore in the age of streaming, but, like, back then, the fact that he came back on a weekend drama
Mhm.
was significant because, like, that's a much more conservative audience
Mhm.
than, like, the mainstream, like, weekday miniseries,
And
big
that
budget.
audience might not have even been aware of his
Right,
scandal.
right.
So,
Or they might not care as much because they
yeah.
tend to be, like, an older audience, a more conservative audience. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
we forgive men for things we don't forgive women for, so,
yeah.
even, like, in the case of Kim Se-ron, that's not like, what she did was extremely serious and deserved punishment, but you definitely have, like, male stars who've gotten away with worse than that. I
For
mean,
sure.
there's one I'm trying to think of one, but I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but definitely there are, like, not theoretically, like, specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that story.
Let's talk about something a little more cheerful.
Whichever which would
Casting
be,
news.
yeah,
Yes,
there's lots of
okay.
really interesting casting news.
So this one, hold on.
This one's exciting.
This one's exciting. So I'm gonna grab
My
it.
favorite crown prince slash plastic surgeon.
I love this pairing.
It's so good. I'm so excited about it. And, like, Ma Dong-seok hasn't been in, like, dramas for so long, apart from, I don't know, some weird Netflix ones that just aren't worth watching. And
But yeah,
also, like,
he's like, it's interesting because it's like a superhero series. So I
yeah,
guess he's just doing,
exactly.
like, superhero movies. First he went to Marvel, and now he's, like, back in Korea, but he's still doing
Yeah, so this
superheroes.
this drama is, like, it's a fantasy drama called 12, and it's inspired by the 12, zodiac animals, and it doesn't sound exactly fantasy-like, but apparently you've also got, like, So Inguk,
It's got a crazy
in
cast.
talks. Yeah,
So,
and Ji
actually, let
Chang-wook.
me pull up the My Drama List page
Like, if
because
So Inguk is in this will be a reunion of him and Ma Dong-seok.
he is in
Oh,
this.
it's been confirmed?
I mean, I saw the casting news. I don't know. Let me
Oh,
see if I
that's
can
cool.
Let me see if I can confirm it.
Because like here, the two of them in Police Unit 38 or Squad 38 or various things 38 that it's called, it was so good. That run was so good. And like it's got such a like, you know, all of those sort of A-list actors who do not act in projects together because like they are the main character. They're all like here. So that's
Yeah. So this cast: Ma Dongseuk, Park Hyunshik, Ji Chang-wook, Sang Dong-il, So In-guk. Like
wild.
what?
Yeah. It sounds really
Crazy.
good.
Yeah. The female actors I'm not familiar with, Lee-ju-bin and Kang Mina. I don't
Lee
recognize them.
Ju-bin, I feel I know.
Oh, Kang Mina was in Welcome to Samdalri
Kang Mina.
and Cafe Minamdang, and Lee Ju-bin was in Divorce. She's coming. No, that's upcoming. She's in Tarot, Chicken Nugget. Okay.
That weird one.
That weird one. Queen of Tears. Oh, her. Okay. That I do recognize her. I have seen her before. She's played a lot of like side character, outwardly perfect but secretly has pain characters.
Ah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Why do I think I've seen her? I haven't seen her.
So this is I'm not gonna lie, it's like kind of a weird premise. I don't know if I would like go for this if it wasn't.
I actually really hate things like angels and devils and things and stories. There's just, you know, there's just some stories where you're like, you hear the sort of the central conceit and you're like, no, that's me with zombies, that's me with vampires, it's me with werewolves, it's me with like seraphims.
Yeah,
it's me with angels.
I agree. It's not like really for
you
me.
have to. The cast has convinced me though. Like I'll give it a shot
Yeah.
because of the cast, but not because of the premise. That I feel like this is more kind of a Borma thing. Like she loves this kind of setup and, you know, all the mythologies and things like that.
Fantasy mythology is kind of one of those premises that like it needs to be. It's not a genre that I will always go for. It's one that like if it's good, then I will watch it, but it has to be really good. It's not one like a rom-com. I'll watch like a trash rom-com. It doesn't have to be good. I'll just be like, oh, it's a rom-com. I'm there.
You don't have to be worthy. You just have to be.
I'll watch the whole thing. Like, who cares? It's like a
time travel
thing.
I'll always give it a shot.
Right, exactly. So apparently Ma Dong-seuk is going to be the leader of the 12 zodiac angels, symbolizing the tiger.
Really cool.
I'm a tiger.
I have no idea what I am.
Park Hyung-shik will play the crow, who is a force of evil that has awakened from his seal. Oh, it's evil
that's actually really interesting.
Okay.
Like, he hasn't done a villain before, so I'm actually really interested.
Did he do that drama where he played twins and one of the brothers was like
he did Sirius.
Yes,
I think
that's right. That was a long
time ago.
That's
more anti-hero than villain. He was, you know, kind of this dark broken boy. And that was like he was a teenager or something, or his characters.
Yeah, that was like 10 years. He
was very young.
He was very young. He was a really new actor.
Yeah, I think that was like his second or third project. Like he hadn't done a lot of acting by then. Because remember, was he in Master's Son where he played the young Soji?
Yeah, it was right after a really breakout role for him. And I remember Sirius coming out after that breakout role, but I'm trying to remember what that breakout role was.
Yeah, me too. Let's see.
So okay, so it was right after I Remember You.
Was he in that?
He was.
Oh, who knew?
But I think it was like a smaller role. What else did he do? He was in Prosecutor Princess as a guest role. He had guest roles in a lot of dramas. And then he was in My Husband Got a Family. That's the first time I saw him.
I saw him in 9 first.
9 was in 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in Heirs. Maybe when was...
That was much later. I Remember You came before both Sirius and
what was his
9
role
Times
in
Time Travel.
You?
It just has the character name. I do not remember. It's been a long time. But I remember noticing him in that. Maybe he played like the younger version of one of them. I honestly can't remember. Anyway, sure? Go down that rabbit hole.
It's not. I mean, it's not on my drama list. So yeah.
Yeah, Taesung. He plays Taesung in there, but I don't remember who Taesung is. It's a support
Me
role.
neither. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can let it go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember noticing him around that time for the first time and being like, "Ooh, okay, this next one is interesting because I actually have another one that I want to talk about with the same actor, but let's talk about them together." So Ji-hoon is coming back with 2 dramas at the end of
Mhm.
this year,
Yeah.
actually.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And
One
both
of
of them
them
look great.
yes, and they're very different. So one of them is this, it's by the same it's, like, based on a webtoon written by the same webtoon chaka that did,
Moving.
Moving. Yes, and it's, like, similarly kind of has an interesting kind of, oh, did I share it?
Mhm.
Yes, okay.
And it's with Park Bo-young,
It's with Park
which is
Bo-young. She plays a nurse again.
again.
Like her last role. I'm wondering if that, like, contributed to her casting. It's called Light Shop, and it's about, like, a mysterious lamp store that illuminates a dark alley and draws in mysterious guests with hidden secrets. So I feel like that's one of those where, like, there's a mysterious location where mysterious things happen,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
there's, like, a mysterious shop owner as played by Joo Ji-hoon.
I I'm wondering if it's gonna be like, what was
That's in
that
December.
show that, what's his name? Ju-won just did, the portrait one where he takes photos of dead people.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, did you? Oh, I feel like it's your kind of show, actually, and I can't remember the name. Let me just quickly
Okay, I'll
look
have to
it
look
up.
that up. But
It
yeah, it
was
almost feels like one
called
of those episodic dramas, you know, like the Midnight Diner
Yeah. Oh,
type.
Midnight Studio was the Ju-won
Oh,
drama.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, similar vibe, similar
Yeah.
title. So there's that one, and then there's also, the other one that is coming up actually a lot sooner. I think it's airing in November.
Mhm. They're
Um,
kind of airing at quite similar times. So, yeah, the
Very
second one
similar,
is
yeah.
sooner.
So the second
They
one
might
is
overlap, yeah.
Love Your Enemy, and it comes out November 23rd, and this one comes out on December 4th. So I guess this one was, like, or maybe both of them were, like, pre-produced, and so
Mhm.
they've just
Yeah.
kind of overlapped, but,
Yeah, and Light Shop is, like, it's quite short. It's a 4-episoder and, like, sorry, an 8-episoder, and in week 1, they're gonna drop 4 episodes, and in the next 2 weeks, they're gonna drop them, like, 2 and 2, and so it's done in 3 weeks, interestingly.
okay,
And
interesting.
that's, like, Disney, I think,
That is
right?
Disney, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if it's gonna be Disney here because sometimes that means Hulu in the US.
Oh, right, yeah,
Um,
yeah, right.
so the other one he's doing, the one that's coming out sooner is with, Jung Yoo-mi. So
Yeah.
this is them in the posters. They are they're born on the same day, they have the same name, and their families have hated each other for generations. And she's a PE teacher at the school where he is the high school chairman, and I'm telling you, the only reason they made him the chairman is so that he can wear three-piece suits again, like he did in Hyena. Trust me. Look
Yeah.
at this.
I mean, you
Did you
should
watch
take every
Hyena?
opportunity. I didn't, it's just one of those. I'm getting through the list of, like, dramas that Anissa said I should watch, like, literally right now, I'm watching Familiar Wife.
Oh, you are? Finally. Man, that's a time travel
Yeah.
one. You definitely
Yeah.
need to watch that one.
And, like, for some reason, when I'm watching these things, like, years after you guys have told me, I don't like, admitting it to you guys, because 'cause I've watched a bunch this year that I didn't tell you I was watching. I don't know why it has to be a secret, but,
Yeah,
yeah,
why does it have to be a
I
secret? I
don't
wanna know these.
know. I cannot explain the workings of my strange mental state.
But are you gonna tell us, like, after you're done so we can, like, hear
Well, there
your
was one I
reflections?
couldn't tell you because it was, like, it was too deep. But you guys said it was good. I watched it, I died, and then I couldn't tell you about it because it was, like, and now I'm watching Familiar Wife.
Okay. Are you enjoying Familiar Wife?
It took a while for me to get into it. I'm watching it at, like, 1.3 speed because it's too slow. I've been watching Brit Crime lately and, like, they use every second.
Mm.
Like, you are dropped right in it from the opening scene, and it doesn't, like, literally, I didn't sleep for like 4 nights in a row.
It's not that kind of Familiar Wife is not that kind of drama.
Yeah, so the pace was kind of like, you know, I wasn't in the lingering, I'm not in the lingering mind space right now. So when things get emotional, I'm just like hitting the fast forward button. Like, move faster, move faster. Yeah.
Well, I am like really into this pairing. I don't think they've ever acted before together.
Yeah,
I
and I
love the
love
height
Park
difference.
Bo-young. Yeah, oh, the Jung Yoo-mi, isn't it?
Jung
Yeah.
Yoo-mi,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what to think about the other one. This one I'm excited for because I can see where it's going. The Light Shop, I feel like those kinds of shows can
Could be hit or miss.
sometimes yeah. I'm thinking of something like, was it Witch's Diner, where it's like there's a single location, there's a charismatic / mysterious owner of the restaurant / shop, whatever. Sometimes it can also have like a really good overall arc. I think that one did, where she had a story and it was like it had some like really interesting mythology and it was really well done and it was like emotionally affecting, but then like each individual story of like the customers who would come there were also pretty affecting and well done. But sometimes it can just feel like they're trying to do a lot and everything is kind of shallow and you don't feel anything. So it just depends on the execution. But I mean, knowing that it's the same writer as Moving,
yeah.
That makes me excited.
But also part of it, knowing it's the same writer as Moving, is making me wonder whether it will finish well. Because one of the problems I had with Moving was that, like, it had this amazing build-up, and then when it ended, I was like, oh, is that the end? But, like, we didn't even finish, you know? Like, it was sort of that one bite short of the full story. And
this is even shorter.
Yeah.
Moving a lot of episodes. So I was like, what?
Yeah. But it also had a ton of moving parts.
It did. Yeah. That was very nice. It was very what's the word? Sprawling? Yeah.
And so they had all of that amazing construction and build up, and then I feel like it sort of undershot the payoff. And, you know, I don't often think shows should have a second season, but this felt like it was a season short of a full show. So yeah. That was
I guess the good thing about something that's like shot in a single location, I'm assuming, or it's like sort of set in a single location, is they don't have this massive world that like spans continents, like the way they did in Moving, where you're like not just on the ground, but you're in the air and you're like going to
and also like 3 timelines, and it was, you know, there was a lot.
Multiple timelines. So
and they just failed to sort of use it all.
That was like a multi-generational saga in some ways.
An unfinished saga.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm still bitter about that. I actually, like, because I also rewatched it, it felt even more like you took my time and you didn't give me the payoff. Yeah. But it was really excellent.
It was really excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the next one, which is
Iminki back as a detective with Wait,
is it a detective drama? I didn't get a chance to read the summary. I was just like, oh, Iminki is back. We have to talk about this.
Oh, who's the detective? Actually, I'm not sure.
No, he's a plastic surgeon.
Okay, somebody is a detective.
Face me. It's about plastic surgeons. Get it?
Oh no. Okay, Ji-hoon is the detective. I don't know who
Ji-hoon is not. She looks familiar. What do
I'm
I
sure
know her from
something. Like, I know her name, but I don't know what I've seen her in.
So basically, it's a thriller. There's an unlikely partnership between Iminki and Ji-hoon, surgeon plus detective, who team up to solve crimes by utilizing reconstructive surgeries for the victims.
It's actually not a bad idea.
A crime, though.
Well, you see,
I mean, that being like a charity like project, but
I watched this. I watched this C-drama called Under the Skin, and this is actually not a supporting argument, because most of the time. Okay, so in Under the Skin, the main character is like a forensic artist. Like he does stuff like portraits of you know, based on people's descriptions of people, whatever. And like he can look at a shadow and reconstruct the entire face. And you're just like, it doesn't work that way. And it's like this magical science. And but maybe it's something like that. Like, you know, a plastic surgeon, artist, they're kind of the same thing. You can see the bones through their skin. So even if they change their face, like the skin of their face, their facial features, you can see the skull inside.
I love how you're like really trying to be on board for this.
Man, I watched Under the Skin. It was rated like 9 point something or something on MDL. And you know, you just cannot trust C-drama ratings on my drama list. I'm sorry. They're just like, I don't know who's doing those ratings or whether they're like real. But
are they like actor-based?
They mislead you.
Sometimes I feel like these ratings are actor-based, where it's like the fandom shows up for particular
I don't know.
I'm not saying that's the case. Maybe I don't know anything about it. I'm just laughing at this article because it's literally just like, I don't think there was much information in the press release, just the posters. So the article and Sophie is literally just describing.
Oh wait, Han Ji-hoon was just in No Gain No Love.
Oh yes, that's what she played. Yeah, that's right. I really liked her in that. Her character was not well done by the drama, but she was incredibly charming. She was really good. Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Starring opposite Lee Min-gi.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Lee-kyung as well because he's like such a good scamp. Like, I hope he's playing a rascally role.
The mischief really works with him. He is playing. Wait, Lee-kyung plays. Wow, I don't know.
I think it's close to the top, maybe.
He also plays a doctor.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he plays another surgeon.
She's the detective, and everyone else is the doctor.
Yeah,
the doctors. Okay. Yeah, right. So there's.
He's called God of Surgery. Sorry, just they're calling Lee Min-gi's character God of Surgery. It's just like. Okay, but yeah, so he has a contrast. He's an ideal cosmetic surgeon, committed to providing excellent service. Okay, he seems chatty and somewhat superficial, but also shows surprising depth. But they have opposite personalities. See, he has an opposite personality to the male lead, but it's got bromance, so ticks all the boxes. Clearly,
works for me. Especially since for me, like Lee-kyung last seen in an episode of Talyora Sokjin, which is the Run Jin, the Jin version of Run BTS.
Is it time for our BTS derailment now?
He's just so funny. Lee-kyung is just naturally so entertaining. And when you put like these two extremely entertaining people together, it's just like, I highly recommend it. It was probably one of the funniest things I've watched in the last few months. Just thinking about it makes me laugh.
So, is there any other casting news you wanted to talk about, or is that it?
I think that's probably enough for now. There were a few more, but I can't remember what they are. But there's a bunch of dramas coming up. I guess we'll see which ones we watch.
Let's end with this one last news story then before we close, about the Incheon Airport opening a new private entrance for celebrities.
I actually thought this was really interesting. So, you know, one of the problems of, I guess, like celebrity travel is that even if they can get sort of anonymously, privately, and securely to anywhere, once they get to Incheon, they like the only way to like the departure gates is through the public areas. And like that's risky. Like, for them it can be risky. If there's overcrowding, it can be risky. For other travelers, it can be inconvenience.
Yeah, it's a hazard to have that many people squished into this like one space. And I don't know, I see these photos sometimes and I'm like, and maybe
it's like this gauntlet
because I live in this like post 9/11 era of like securitized airport experiences, but I'm like, this is an airport. Like, how is this just happening? And no one is like, where are the security people? Like, aren't these people afraid? Because when I'm always afraid when I'm at the airport, like, it's really strange to see something that is, like, this highly regulated, a space like this is this highly regulated, where there's just, like, gigantic mobs. And maybe it's just, like, the giganticness of the mob where it's, like, they literally don't have enough security staff to control them. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of scary.
Yeah, and, like, if you I mean, that's where sussings go to, to follow whoever they're following, and, like, they're given access that they don't need to be given. And it's the same for, like, it's I don't know, did they have a VIP entrance or exit before?
They had a VIP exit, but now I think they're saying that they should use the entrance also.
So, like,
Like, use
even
the
if you were
private
the
entrance too.
president, would you be just going through the public, concourse for
I don't know
departures?
about the president. I assume the president has his own Air Force
Oh, that's
and
a
his
good
own
point.
airport.
He's not traveling commercial. I
No,
forgot.
I don't think so.
That is a very good point. But, like, like, whenever you get and I feel like we've been seeing these stories for years, like, the one that comes to mind is, Lee Jong-suk, like, years ago when he got, dragged for being rude to a fan, and he was just, like, having his own private moment where he was doing, whatever he was doing, and he clearly wasn't in the mood or the mind space to be Lee Jong-suk the star. And then that turned into this whole thing of, oh, he's so rude to his fans. All she did was want, like, what do you call it, an autograph. And, like, they're, like, avoidable situations, and it's one of these things that, a lot of agencies and entertainment companies have been complaining about for a really long time, and fans have been complaining about it. Like, you can do this in a really easy way. Just give them a private entrance, like a security entrance or whatever, and then all of this doesn't happen. But then it's also the other side of the argument is that these are often used as, like, PR moments, and a lot of times it's, like, dispatch or whatever who's there making a scene, and then the fans follow or whatever.
I mean, dispatch just needs to be, like, sued for journalistic malpractice. They're not even real journalists. They're
They
just,
have,
like,
like,
vultures.
deals with
Yeah.
everyone,
They have, like,
isn't it?
inside
They're
dirty
like
dealings happening.
parasites.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think also, like, of this year, like, the videos of, like, Hyunshik at the airport where he's, like, and not only in Korea, I think that it happened in, like, Philippines and, like, other places too, where there's just, like, this teeming mass of people around him, and for him, it's, like, something that he's never experienced before, and you can just see on his face how, like, he doesn't even know if he should be happy about this or upset about it, and it's, like, they shouldn't have to deal with that. Like, that's
Yeah.
not something that a human being should have to, like.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and you see
yeah.
this a lot with, like, not just, like, BTS, but any popular K-pop, stars. That happens to them all the time. You have
Yeah.
this, like, one tiny little celebrity, like, encased in, like, a human wall, like a wall of bodyguards, and, like, they're just being it's actually really scary.
It is
So
scary.
to have
Yeah.
to go through that every time you're, trying to leave the country, like, you don't need to
To
do
do your
that.
job. Just trying to do your
Yeah.
job again, yeah.
Exactly.
So as not to end on that downer note, we have so, Coyote 999 said that the trailer for Mr. Plankton looks good. I have actually not heard of this drama, but it stars Woo Do-hwan, so I like
Ooh,
that.
it's got an interesting title as well.
Yeah, Mr. Plankton, like, literally, like, transcribed into Korean. So it's about a guy who doesn't know who his father is, and so he feels rejected his whole life. And then one day he goes to search for his real father, and then he takes the female lead with him, who is Yumi. Oh, this has got Oh Jung-se in it. We love Oh
Oh,
Jung-se.
yeah. Have we seen Yumi in anything before?
I'm trying, like, this little picture of her doesn't. Oh, it has Kim Hae-suk too. Wow, the adult cast. Not the adult cast, they're all adults, but, like, the the older cast was amazing. Oh, she was in Strong Girl Namsoon, which I refuse to watch, but apparently she plays Namsoon in that.
Ah, okay. So she's, like, her star is rising.
Apparently, yeah, she was a support role in Squid Game and All of Us Are Dead.
And she was in
Oh,
365
I've seen
Repeat
her
the
in
Year,
365. That's what I
but I
recognize
don't
her
remember
from.
who that was. Oh, wait, was she the
Plays
main?
the resetter.
Right, the woman.
The woman who
The
controls
woman.
everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
she looked older than that in that.
I did get the impression she was older in that, but
Yeah, but
she looks very young in this
she
picture.
is very young. But
Yeah.
she's 30, so she's, like, neither very old nor very young.
Or maybe we're just old. So her character in this, dreams of having a family. She's planned to marry some chaebol issei kid, that they run a food company, but they don't like
Mhm.
her. Oh, but she's expecting,
Uh-oh.
so they have to accept her 'cause she's pregnant. Um, but she runs away on the day of their wedding. Ooh,
Uh-oh.
it's very dramatic. It looks
Oh,
like
this is written by the, It's Okay Not to Be Okay screenwriter.
ooh, okay. See, I
Interesting.
feel like that premise might not have hooked me, but now that I've heard the writer oh, speaking of the writer and the producer, I forgot to mention this, but the other drama we were talking about has, like, an incredible team behind it, Love Your Enemy.
Mhm.
It's actually by let me bring it back up. Um, it's got the writer of let me see, sorry. It's got the writer from The Tale of Nokdu and Love in the Moonlight.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then it has the director that did
If we
Alchemy of
were a season,
Souls,
this
Touch
is
Your
also
Heart, What's Wrong with Secretary
mhm.
Kim, Because This Is My First Life. I mean
And the writer also wrote If We Were a Season, which is, like, my all-time favorite
oh, I
drama
haven't seen that
special.
one. Okay.
Watch it. It's,
So that team
Ch
between Love Your Enemy, like, even though the premise seems kind of basic, I'm excited because of the team.
Oh, okay, that tells me it's gonna be emotionally complex
Mhm.
and gorgeous.
Yes. Yes. You know what was surprisingly emotionally complex and gorgeous despite the crazy premise? DNA
What?
Lover.
Oh, really?
Like, it wasn't like one of those
That is
all-time
surprising.
amazing dramas, but it was unnecessarily gorgeously directed,
I do hate that
and,
because sometimes you're just watching it because it's gorgeous and you hate the drama.
but I didn't hate the drama, like, it was
You do,
slow,
yeah.
and there was
Mhm.
some unnecessary murder, like, why was there serial
You
killing
hate
in
the
this? I
unnecessary
don't
murder,
know,
yeah.
but, I mean, everyone's motivations made sense, they were
Mhm.
emotionally complex, they were emotionally intelligent, I didn't end the drama
Do you
hating
know, I couldn't
anybody.
pass the nonsensical premise. Like,
But
you know?
okay, so it's the first 6 episodes are, like, extremely wacky, and the heroine is, like, unhinged, but you grow to understand that she has latched on to this, like, pseudo-scientific myth about there being, like, a DNA match for you out there that you can find as, like, a defense mechanism from getting hurt. So,
Oh,
like
okay.
and her journey is to, like, understand that
Ah.
and
Well,
accept it.
you can tell how deep, my scienciness is when I listen to BTS's DNA lyrics, and I'm like, "Yeah, DNA doesn't run in your veins." I love
Yeah.
the song,
Well,
but it's wrong.
there's a disclaimer at the beginning of every episode of DNA Lover saying, like, the DNA
This
science
is
is all
science.
trash and it's all fictional. But so it doesn't literally say it's trash, but
Yeah,
it's like none of this is based on real science. It's all
right.
made up.
We
Like,
made it
no,
up.
yeah, exactly. It's a rom-com. It ain't that deep, folks. But yeah, I kind of like came for the wacky hijinks and I stayed
Mhm.
for like a genuinely really sweet story about like finding love despite the wounds that life has given you. So
Oh,
it's
that's
like
nice to
it
know.
does have some like episodes in the middle where you need to watch at like 1.25 speed. I will warn you. It's not as wacky. Well, it is as wacky as Bad Memory Eraser, but it's not as morally suspect and like problematic
Speaking
because you
of bad.
don't have people experimenting on people with like irreversible brain surgery
Oh,
without their
no.
consent, which is what happened in Bad Memory Eraser, and then lying to them.
Oh, speaking of
And
bad
here,
memory
like, the
eraser.
majority of the science is, like, harmless, like, and also done with the person's consent, so
Okay, that is always important. But, to end on a really cheerful note, and bad memory eraser, 'cause what do you call it? Ji-hoon has been busy on YouTube lately. There's tons of new Ji-hoon content. Like there's this what is it called? I can't remember. I sent you the link the other day.
Oh, with his parents, right? I still haven't
Yeah.
seen that. I need to watch
And
that.
yeah, like he shows the show. I can't remember which show it is, but like he's showing them around the house that he built for his parents. And I always forget that he has so many siblings. He's like one of 9, I think, 9 or 8.
Is
And
he?
it's just, yes, I love this because, you know,
Oh my gosh,
I
that
have lots of
explains his
siblings.
caretaker energy. He does have that
He's
caretaker
just,
energy.
yeah, he's just, I think he's the youngest of, is he the youngest of them all? He's just so lovable. Just such
He's
like
just extremely lovable.
good person energy. Yeah, I really adore him.
And he's been through so much. So he's that like, when I see him, my heart just kind of like goes, oh.
Yeah.
So I'm like really happy to see him living his best life right now, interviewing people that he wants to interview on YouTube.
And cooking for them.
And cooking for them. And like also like whenever they get some kind of sponsorship for the show for
He gets so excited.
he gets so excited and then he goes on this like whole like I usually hate product placement and I fast forward it, but like he's so dorky and funny about it. I'm just like,
yeah. It's they've mastered
so
PPL when like they do it with like a nod and a wink. Like we all know it's PPL, let's have fun with it. And it's just really enjoyable. And like when you see him in the thing about his parents' house, you're gonna laugh a lot. It's really funny.
I'm saving that for when I like I really need the boost.
And he just has this great sort of deadpan energy when he says the funniest things. And like you can't teach that. That's just like innate.
There's a reason I watched like almost 3.5 episodes of Bad Memory Eraser because he is such an amazing comic actor. And I'm like really sad for him that once again he's done a terrible drama and he's probably not going to come back to dramas for like 15 years.
You know, in Familiar Wife, you know, Jang Sung-jo is in the like every time I look at him for a moment, I'm like, Jae-jung, because they look really similar.
They do. And that was the drama where I like discovered Jung Sung-jo and I was like, do a male lead because I love you so much. He's so good in this.
Have you watched Good Detective?
I'm on like episode 5 and then I stalled
you're
for
not
some
getting
reason.
into it.
I don't know what happened. You know, sometimes like you start something and it's like you feel like it's building towards something, but you also know you're gonna have to like use your brain a lot and you're like, let me pause. And I knew how like highly you recommended it. So I was like, let me pause and come back to this later. And then I just like never came back. And now I'm in like so stressed with life that I'm watching like DNA Lover.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at this point.
I feel like I'm getting into the Jang Sung-jo space again. So like maybe after I finish Familiar Wife, I'll go back to Good Detective because I haven't watched Good Detective 2 yet. And I have to rewatch 1 before I can watch 2.
Of course. That's the equation. What episode of Familiar Wife are you on?
10, 11.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. It's getting to it's you know why I don't watch these? 1, they're really long. 2, I feel like I need to use my feelings and I don't really want to use my feelings and I don't need to use them when it's like brick crime because it's like, you know, murder and it's sordid.
You don't have to use your feelings. The whole thing.
Because feelings hurt. And I don't want to be hurt. I just want to be stimulated.
So you just want to be like a depressed British person who's not being made any demands upon emotionally.
Exactly. 그렇죠.
You know, okay, last like little side tangent before we end this. I've been like recently binge listening to 60 songs that explain the 90s.
Oh, cool.
Which is a Ringer podcast, and they finished their season or their multiple seasons that covered the 90s and it ended up being like 90 songs. And now they're doing 60 songs that explain the 90s, the 2000s. But they were talking about, I think, was it The Verve or some other, but anyway, they covered a bunch of like British, bunch of Brit pop, and they were just talking about, Bittersweet. Yeah, which has like a tragic story, that song does.
Yeah, they don't even make money from that song.
They got the rights back finally in like 2019, which like
did
all of the royalties that they would have gotten all went to Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. And now like what are they going to get from Spotify? Like pennies? Anyway. But I mean, they were just talking about like the depressed maudlin nature of like all of these Britpop like miserable
the
young
MV
men
is
from the
playing in my head.
90s. Yeah, more like the Oasis and the Verve and
Blur, yeah.
Blur. Yeah, exactly. So it just made me think of that.
I was watching this video the other day about how like was it Blur destroyed Britpop or something, and how Song 2 something it was interesting, except I lost interest about 15 minutes in. I was like, why do I need to know this?
Yeah, this podcast I will say is like 50% really interesting cultural commentary, 50% extremely annoying, like super in-depth navel-gazy commentary by like a white Gen Xer in his 40s who's like telling me details about his life and his relationship with these songs. I like do not need to know. But the other part is really great and like very nostalgic and like super interesting. So I kind of like go back and forth on it. But anyway, I just that was like a little side.
I think I'll go and look it up, and if I can listen to it like by picking the songs, maybe
you can. It's a song per episode, so you just listen to the songs that are interesting to you.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
There is some swearing, so just be aware.
I have watched John Oliver.
Yeah, sometimes
I don't enjoy it.
Yeah,
I also have been watching lots of Brit crime, and it's just full of it.
Ain't that
and
true?
It reminds me why I don't watch, why I stopped watching, English TV.
So what do? Either it's clean or it makes you have feelings. What do you like? Either you gotta have clean stuff that makes you have feelings, otherwise it's like not clean
fun.
and
Like,
it's like
you go back and forth. Like you go to the thing and you're like fed in a certain way, and then you go back and you're like, oh gosh, I've had enough of this. I don't want this anymore. And then you go back to the K-dramas refreshed, and then you enjoy them again.
Yeah, that's very true. I think I went through this like period where I was like binge watching this like really great Apple TV series about like a psychiatrist. Oh my gosh, what was it called? It had Harrison Ford in it. Anyway, it was good. Oh, Shrinking. And it was great. It was like very different and I enjoyed it. And then I was like, okay, back to K-dramas.
Yeah. Now I'm ready to go back to my real life. Yeah.
Okay.
And Broadchurch was really good, by the way. That was the one that I was watching.
I've heard that's really good. Shall we end it here, Saya?
Let's. Went for a long time.
Yes, and I know it's really late where you are, so I will let you go. And I literally came off work like a minute before I got onto this, so I'm gonna go and like eat dinner or something. I went to the Legislative Assembly today.
Oh, that sounds heavy.
No, it wasn't heavy actually. Like I interviewed a political reporter about like one of the funny election stories. We're doing like counter programming for the election on the podcast. But it was a new experience. It was tiring. I had to go to downtown Raleigh. So good night or good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Thanks for watching. Good night, Coyote 999.
Good night.
Thanks for your contributions. Have a lovely evening / day. Bye.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.